Bottling kombucha tips. So, continuing with our series of bottling kombucha tips, here's another bottling kombucha tip. So, when you go to bottle your kombucha tea, here's actually a safety precaution. Well, a lot of people say, Dave, I go to bottle my kombucha tea and there's no fizz. So the fizz can take place during the aerobic stage of fermentation. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you brew your kombucha, the first stage is aerobic, meaning like it needs air, yeah? So we cover our kombucha tea, not to cover it, to seal it, but to really just so ensure that like things like fruit flies and debris and stuff like that don't go inside. So something as simple as a paper towel. With our kits, we give you a little nicer option, but really achieves the same thing. But we want it to be breathable, yeah? And during that stage, you could have, depending on the relationship between the yeast and bacteria, you could have a little bit of carbonation. However, the true carbonation really kicks in when you go to bottle it. Why? Well, when the yeast continues during that anaerobic stage of fermentation, right? So no air, the yeast will continue to convert the sugar that's remaining. Now, there's always going to be some sugar left in your kombucha tea. That's good, gives it a little sweetness, right? But a majority of it will continue to convert from the yeasts into, well, things like ethanol, like alcohol, acetic acid, and CO2. Only this time, we're not using a breathable cover, we're using a closed cover, whether it's a cap or what I use and suggest for newbies, a cork, right? So even an empty wine bottle works. And this time, the CO2 cannot escape. Pressure builds up, you get the fizz. A lot of people say, Dave, I've done it for a day or two and nothing. Well, here are the two tips. Don't do it in the refrigerator. You want that yeast to continue to be active. Active yeast will be active usually in a temperature of about 70 degrees on up. As soon as you refrigerate something, just like us, we tend to slow down. So when you bottle your kombucha tea, if you're looking for the fizz, you want to bottle it at room temperature, even a little warmer than room temperature. And you want to do it a little longer, okay? Now, how long is too long? Well, if you're using something like a cork or a plastic bottle where you could feel the pressure, you should be good to go. You should be able to feel it and sense it. As a safety precaution, if you're bottling for a long time, I recommend putting it in a cooler, putting it in a plastic bag away from children and things like that. This is why, again, when you start off brewing, I recommend plastic guys or some type of cap that has a pressure release to it. And simply, if you bottle 12 bottles of kombucha, open one after 2 days, open another one after 3 days, and so on and so forth until you find the one that's right for you. Let's say on the 7th day at room temperature, it's fizzy, it's delicious, then go ahead and refrigerate the rest of them and you're good to go. There is another kombucha bottling tip. To get even more free kombucha videos to take your kombucha brewing to the next level, check out GetKombucha.com/free.